Who's that? Commander Claw. Who's bad? Commander Claw. Oh, welcome back to another episode from Commander Claw. I got 5 cards for you just for Arabella Abandoned Doll. She's super popular, at least on my channel, because I see the analytics. So I gotta bring you more cards, more heat, more like trinkets of information that you guys can use when you're deck building with this creepy doll. So I'm gonna go to the next slide and let you see what it actually does. All right, on a 1/3 body, we had a boros colored legendary artifact creature, toy creature type. That's right, toy creature type. That's creepy. And her ability reads whenever Arabella Abandoned Doll attacks, it deals X damage to each opponent and you gain X life, where X is the number of creatures you control with power 2 or less. So, what I got to say here is you're going to go wide with her because you want to trigger her abilities and you want to gain life and deal damage to your opponents. Simple as that, right? Like, let's get to the 5 cards. Sorry for wasting your time. Okay, I'm going to get pushback for this card, but hear me out. Hear me out. For 4 mana, Akroan Horse, a 0/4 artifact creature horse that has Defender. Defender means your creature cannot attack, it can only block. Then it says when a Akroan Horse enters the battlefield, an opponent gains control of it. Then, at the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent creates a 1/1 white soldier creature token. The reason why I'm suggesting this card, for 4 mana, you have a creature token generator for you, which is you're playing Arabella, okay? And on your opponent's upkeep, they are creating 1/1s for you. So your board is getting wider and they can never really kill your creature, your 1/1 white soldiers. Well, they can. They always can. There's always a way. But the 1/1s won't destroy a 0/4 straight up. So you're literally building an army without having to build an army. And you get more creatures power 2 or less. I feel like it's kind of risky, but I feel like mid late game when there's like maybe only 2 players, maybe a 1v1 or you know, or 3 players left, this card can get out of hand and you got a wide board state and you just attacking with Arabella. Let me know in the comments if you like this idea or not. Okay, I got Defenders of Humanity. Tap X and then tap 3 mana, 2 colors and a white. It's an enchantment that reads when Defenders of Humanity enters the battlefield, create X 2/2 white Astartes warrior creature tokens with vigilance. They meet the requirements of 2 or less. Then you do the same thing again, tap X and tap 2 and a white. Exile Defenders of Humanity, create X 2/2 white Astartes creature tokens with vigilance. Activate only if you control no creatures and only during your turn. So, this is a really good card once a board wipe happens and you have lost your commander and you have to recast your commander and you want to put some 2/2s onto the battlefield. And I'm really referring to the second ability. But the first time you play this card, it's going to be good. You get to put in as many as you possibly can, maybe 5. If you put in 5 2/2 Astartes, that would cost you 8 mana. Not bad. They're 2/2s. That's still pretty powerful, and they got vigilance. So that means they don't have to tap to attack. And also, just a little caveat for Arabella's trigger, you don't have to attack with the other creatures. You can just attack alone with Arabella to get her attack trigger. Just want y'all to remember that. Otherwise, this is a good card to drop in 2/2s onto the battlefield to continuously use Arabella's ability. I feel like this card is really good for mid or even late game heroics. Okay, so we got Nesting Dragon here. This is one of my favorite recommendations. Here's why. It's a 5/4 dragon for 5 mana, 2 red, 3. It has flying, but it has a landfall trigger. The landfall trigger says whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, create an 0/2 red dragon egg creature token with Defender. And when this creature dies, create a 2/2 red dragon creature token with flying, and it has fire breathing. Fire breathing is where you tap 1 red mana, and this creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn. So, this is a good token generator for creatures that are power 2 or less. And even when your eggs die, you get to bring a 2/2 dragon into play that has pump up, fire breathing. So, you tell me how this card is not good. Mid game, if you want to get a wider board state, and also there's a lot of cards out there in white that drops more lands into play, especially if you meet the criteria of your opponent having more lands than you. Let's take a look. So, just to support the idea of Nesting Dragon being a good card, there's white cards out here that drop more than 1 land into play, such as Archaeomancer's Map for 3 mana. It's an artifact. When it ETBs, search your library for up to 2 basic plains cards, reveal them, and put them into your hand. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under opponent's control, if that player controls more lands than you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. That's a no-brainer. So if somebody's mana ramping, and they drop a land into play and you don't have enough lands, whoop, drop a land into play. You already got a 2 from your hand. Then that triggers Nesting Dragon. Come on, y'all. Come on. That's there. Uh, Also, this is a really good card for Boros because it is not going to be good at mana ramping at all. So you're going to need these type of cards, just to give you a heads up. Next up, we got Deep Gnome Terramancer. For 2 mana, it's a gnome wizard. It has flash. That means you can play it at instant speed. It has the ability Mold Earth. Whenever 1 or more lands enter the battlefield under an opponent's control without being played, you may search your library for a plains card, put it onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Do this only once each turn. That's okay if it's once per turn. It's the fact that you get to do it. So all those crack lands and fetch lands your opponents are playing, yeah, Deep Gnome Terramancer is the answer for that. You get the mana ramp with them. Think about that. Okay, so I got another far-fetched idea, but I really like the idea here. This is the steep card for 3 white mana. The Book of Exalted Deeds. I've always wanted to find a place to use this card. So it's a legendary artifact that says at the beginning of your end step, if you gained 3 or more life this turn, create a 3/3 white angel creature token with flying. Tap 3 white, exile the Book of Exalted Deeds, put an enlightened counter on target angel. It gains you can't lose the game and your opponents can't win the game. Activate only as a sorcery. So the first ability I really like because when you swing with Arabella and you have enough creatures for you to gain 3 life and do 3 damage to your opponents, at the end step you get to put a 3/3 white angel creature token flying. I know, I get it. It's not gonna the 3/3 angel doesn't meet the criteria for Arabella. Who cares? It is a 3/3 flying angel that your opponents are going to have to deal with. It's not power 2 or less, it's a 3/3 flyer. That is dangerous. If you get to do this twice, as in like 2 attack turns or 2 end steps, that's a total power of 6 on the battlefield just for swinging with Arabella. Yeah, I'm telling you, don't sleep on this card. It might be a little steep, but it's very worth it. Then obviously the criteria for putting a light encounter on an angel, you can't lose the game and your opponents can't win the game. I think it's very what's the word I'm looking for? It's a tease because in order for your opponents to win, they're gonna have to remove that creature with this enlightened counter. But you'll be surprised how many scenarios will prevent you from losing the game. Yes, you can be at 0 life with a creature that has the enlightened counter and the ability you can't lose the game and your opponents can't win the game. Moving on. Okay, now we got Ramus Echor, Ancient Shield for 4 mana, 3 and a white, legendary artifact. Notice I'm rolling with artifacts here. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, draw a card. Then create a 0/3 white wall creature token with Defender. At the beginning of combat on your turn, creatures you control with Defender gain Exalted until end of turn. Exalted is whenever a creature you control attacks alone, Arabella, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each instance of Exalted among permanents you control. Breathe, people. Breathe. This is a powerful card. So when you are playing a second spell, whenever on anybody's turn now, you get to draw a card. Okay? That's good enough. And you create an 0/3 white wall creature token with Defender. So that means that's another creature that works well with Arabella. Not only she works well with Arabella, the creature has Defender. And that bottom ability at the beginning of combat on your turn, creatures with Defender gain Exalted. So let me explain this. Let's say you have two creatures that are Defenders and they have the Exalted ability. You attack with Arabella. She will get +2/+2 because each creature with Defender has Exalted. So, yes, add that to her attack, and you are swinging combat damage or commander damage. Now, that does not increase the number of gain life and doing damage to your opponents. Only the creatures do. However, this card does all of that for you. That's why it's a good card. So not only does it buff Arabella, it goes wide, creating criteria creature tokens for Arabella. All you got to do is play a second card per turn. And if you're drawing cards, it encourages that opportunity. Okay, this is my bonus card for you. You're going to like it. It's only for risky type of players. Combat Calligrapher. 3 and a white is a 3/3 bird cleric. It has flying. It says Inklings can attack you or planeswalkers you control. Then it says whenever a player attacks one of your opponents, that attacking player creates a tap 2/1 white and black Inkling creature token with flying that's attacking that opponent. Let me unpack this. So, first of all, Inklings can attack you or planeswalker. Remember that card Ink Shield, where all those Inklings come out of nowhere and prevent damage? If the bird cleric is on the battlefield, those Inklings can't attack you. That's good. Otherwise, your opponents are swinging at your opponents and they're making 2/1 white Inkling creatures. Why do I say add this card? Because you want their life totals to go down faster, which makes it easier for Arabella to kill your opponents. You don't always have to swing with commander damage. If Arabella is able to do 5 damage because you have enough creatures out to make her attack trigger works, that encourages your opponents all to die. This card is going to bring chaos. That's why I like this card, because there's got to be a way to make your opponents lose life faster, but it's also an incentive for your opponents to attack your other opponents because they do have sacrifice triggers probably that they want to use and they just need a creature. Keep in mind, Inklings can't attack you as long as Combat Calligrapher is on the battlefield. So, overall, expect chaos with this card, but put it in your deck and be a little political with it so your opponents are consistently attacking each other and not you. And they're doing the dirty work for you. That's why I like this card. Peace out, y'all. If I brought any type of value to you, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And that encourages me to make more videos. Peace.